Today on The Big Story, Malaysia kicks off Islamic Summit with Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad denying talk of a new Islamic bloc. We may not have snow here, but there are still Christmas motifs in tropical sunny Singapore. To celebrate the Christmas cheer, find out what they are. Get your hands on a Samsung tablet when you purchase the Straits Times News subscription deal. Stay on to find out more. It's Friday, the end of the week. You're watching The Big Story, where we will discuss the hottest topics of the day and explain why it matters. I'm Haryanto Diman, reporting to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. A summit of Muslim leaders kicked off in the Malaysian capital yesterday, with Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad in his opening address trying to diffuse speculation that the meeting aimed to build a new Islamic bloc. Summit organisers say 450 delegates from 56 countries are in attendance at the Muslim Leaders Summit. The Saudis, who play a high-profile role in the Muslim world due to their role as custodian of the two holy mosques in Mecca and Medina and their oil wealth, have skipped the KL meeting. Instead, leaders of the three countries with tense relations with Saudi Arabia flew into KL. The Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. The Kuala Lumpur meeting has been viewed in some Islamic circles as a gathering of Muslim countries not aligned with Saudi Arabia and raised chatter about a new Islamic bloc. We have Malaysia correspondent Trina Leong, who is in Kuala Lumpur right now, live on Skype to tell us more about this summit. Hi, Trina.
Hi, Haryanto.
Now, Trina, for a start, could you share briefly with us why is this summit held and what are some of the issues that are going to be discussed?
So, Malaysia's Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, in his opening address yesterday, said the summit is meant to find solutions that can uplift the Muslim community in different areas, such as finance, education, science and technology. This is on top of the summit's intent to have a public discourse to seek answers to problems, troubling the Muslim world, such as addressing Islamophobia, correcting misconceptions. And they did talk about, trying to bring back the Islamic golden age, where culture, economics and sciences flourished back then. So there are several core topics that are discussed during the summit. That is the role of politics in government, basically in development, education, equitable wealth, food security, and advanced technology.
Yeah. And Trina, let's focus now on Tun Dr. Mahathir. And you mentioned Dr. Mahathir as well. Now, his involvement with the trio of countries aligned against the Saudis has raised chatter about new Islamic bloc. Now, he has rebutted that claim in his opening address for the summit. Now, the OIC has also obliquely criticized the KL summit. Is Malaysia putting itself in a very precarious situation now?
Right, I think it's too early to make such a conclusion. After all, Tun Mahathir did call Saudi Arabia's King Salman on Tuesday to mitigate the royals' concern over Malaysia holding the summit. And according to Tun Mahathir, King Salman maintains that the OIC, that is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, should be the platform to address Muslim communities' issues. Now, Tun Mahathir in his speech yesterday sought to downplay the role of the summit, saying that they're starting small with only some Muslim leaders, and if the summit produces any tangible solutions, then they'll take it up to a larger platform.
Right. And Trina, how will these summit impact the Muslim countries and Islamic world in general?
Right. At this point, I would say that the impact will be mainly on the trade front. Putting together countries like Iran, Qatar, and Turkey in a room means that you have high-level leaders who are going to negotiate business deals with each other. And bear in mind, these are the countries that have been shunned by many, including their own neighbors. So yesterday alone, we saw document exchanges on collaboration between Malaysia's state-owned and private entities with those from Qatar and Turkey in the fields of agriculture, aerospace, defense, IT, electronics, and so forth. So at the moment, you have these countries not aligned to Saudi Arabia coming together to do business with each other and with other Muslim nations outside the Gulf.
Well, thank you so much, Trina, for taking time off to shed some light with regard to the the Muslim Leaders Summit that is happening in Malaysia right now, 4-day summit, and it's ending this weekend. Now, to keep up to date with the summit and the related stories, you can visit our website at straitstimes.com. Now, moving on, we are just days away from Christmas. While we are not able to build a snowman, even if we had wanted to, here in tropical Singapore, we are still able to enjoy tropical Christmas gifts from our green spaces. Now, all year round, there are signs of Christmas cheer in verdant Singapore. The mouse deer, the tropical cousin to the reindeer, continue to forage in forests here. Conifers, a group of trees including the iconic Christmas pine tree, stand proud and tall in parks and along the streets. Conifers refer to a group of woody trees and shrubs that usually have needle-like or scale-like leaves and bear exposed seeds, usually on the scales of cones. Now, to share more on Singapore's Christmas flora and fauna, we have environment correspondent Audrey Tan right here. Hey, Audrey.
Hey, Arianto.
Welcome. Now, Audrey, let's start, with where can we find these trees for those looking to get into, the festive spirit outdoors?
So a lot of people would recognize the iconic Christmas pine tree. So these belong to a group of plants known as conifers, which are, as you guys have seen earlier, trees with needle-like leaves with exposed seeds. So in Singapore, we do have one native conifer, as a tropical conifer that is found naturally in Singapore, and it's called the sea teak. And you can find one heritage tree in Sembawang Park. So yeah, that is one of the tropical Christmas trees that people can look out for. And there are other trees that kind of look like conifers, but they are not. So one is a casuarina tree. That one really looks like a Christmas tree because of its tiny needle-like leaves. But they are not real leaves, they are actually twigs with leaves like in holes inside them. So even though they're not related, they still, I think, have kind of a Christmassy vibe, and you can find those on Coney Island because they grow well in sandy seashore kind of habitats.
And those, the casuarinas, they are not conifers, yeah?
They are not conifers, they just look like conifers. And they have, you can see in the story, but they have adapted this way because it suits the kind of tropical environment where you get like very hot environments with some wind. So other than that, NParks has also planted trees with kind of Christmas vibes. So like the jelutong tree is a tropical forest tree that you can find in Singapore's forest. When it's young, it has a conical shape. So you can find them in all around Singapore. So these are just some of the trees with Christmas vibes that you can find here.
They can look out. And so talking about trees, now let's move on to the animals as well. There is the mouse deer. Now, have you seen one yourself out in the wild?
Though personally no, but a lot of native mammals, they are nocturnal and they're kind of hard to see. But the mouse deer is the tropical relative to the reindeer that people would commonly associate with Christmas. But it's kind of different in that. So mouse deer are not exactly, they are distantly related to true deer species like the reindeer. And one distinguishing feature is that true deer, they have antlers. Whereas our mouse deer, they don't have antlers. And the males fight each other with their teeth and their fangs instead. So they don't lock fangs, but they just like inflict wounds on each other. That's what the researchers told me. Yes. Yeah. So in Singapore, we have two species of mouse deer, the greater mouse deer and the lesser mouse deer. And they got their names because of their size. So the greater mouse deer is the size of like a large domestic cat, and the lesser mouse deer is the size of a small domestic cat. And you can find them in our forest here. And one interesting thing about the mouse deer is that the greater mouse deer was actually considered extinct in Singapore. Because the last time they were seen was in the 1920s. Until one of the mammal researchers found one of them in Pulau Ubin in 2008. And another one on the Western Catchment Forest on the mainland in 2012. So now we have both back in our forest here. So I've not seen them personally, but I think you can find them in the zoo and the night safari. So,
and okay, just to understand better these two different mouse deer, so the greater mouse deer and the lesser mouse deer, do they live in the same kind of habitat as well?
I think they are both forest-dwelling species. So, like for example, the lesser mouse deer, you might, if you are lucky enough, get to see them in places like the Central Catchment Nature Reserve and also in the buffering park, so Thomson Nature Park. you might get to see them, but you have to be quiet and yeah, of course,
because
they're wildlife.
Really, and they're very shy animals, right?
Yeah.
Naturally very shy animals. So you've heard it from Audrey herself. You know, these are some of animals and the flora as well that you can check out out in Singapore. Now you can read Audrey's story. Now Audrey's story, of course, details in full the tropical Christmas gifts, as it were, that you can find here in Singapore. Once again, thank you so much, Audrey, for coming on to the show. Now, to read more, of course, you can head on to straitstimes.com. And now let's move on to What's Trending, where Kim will share with us what's buzzing in the internetverse. Over to you, Kim.
Thanks, Harinto. It's time for What's Trending. First up, misplaced determination. A man repeatedly submitted forged polytechnic certificates to the Singapore Institute of Management, or SIM University, later renamed Singapore University of Social Sciences, as he wanted to gain a place there. Kaifer Tay Kai Sian, 24, was said to be so desperate to study at the university that he altered his Temasek Polytechnic GPA from 1.76 to 2.76. He was fined $5,500 on Thursday after pleading guilty to a forgery charge. Next up, vaping on public transport. A video has been making its rounds on the internet of a youth smoking an e-cigarette on board a public bus. As you can see here, the young man wearing a Hello Kitty sweater is seen blowing out smoke before showing a peace sign to the camera. According to the Tobacco Control of Advertisement and Sale Act, possessing tobacco products like e-cigarettes could land someone in jail and or hit with a fine of up to $10,000. I guess where there's smoke, there's fire, metaphorically of course. And ending off on some good news, kindness on public transport. Several wheelchair users were left stranded at the train platform after a lift in Novena MRT station broke down. Reader of citizen journalism platform Stomp, Clarice, told them that her mother was one of those affected until a young gentleman came to their rescue. According to Clarice, the man carried her mother, who is at least 80 kilograms, up 2 flights of stairs from the MRT platform to the control station. She was unable to get his name as he rushed off to catch his train. But good job, kind stranger! And that's all we have for What's Trending today. If you've seen a story you want to share, link it in the comment section below. Back to you, Haryanto.
Now, thank you, Kim. That is certainly a very feel-good kind of story to just end off the week. Now, moving on to our last segment, a new subscription deal to read the e-paper version of the Straits Times is officially open for purchase. Now, the purchase of the subscription plan comes with a free Samsung Tab A 10.1-inch Wi-Fi tablet. Now, the early bird subscribers were at Plaza Singapura earlier this morning to collect their tablets. Now, some had to wait to collect their sets as there was a queue. Our colleague Dylan Ang was on location to talk to them.
I'm here in Plaza Singapura for the collection of the Straits Times News Tablet, a new subscription deal that offers a new way to read the Straits Times. Now, it's available to subscribers of a 2-year contract, and with that you will receive a Samsung Tab A 10.1-inch tablet. Now, the people over here successfully signed up for the early bird deal, and we spoke to just a few of them to find out more.
Well, I think to be honest, the price is pretty attractive. And then also, I think with the tablet, give us a lot of convenience.
Well, we have been reading from the hard copy, and then I thought this is a good time for us to get into reading, online, paperless, and save the environment through the process.
In my case, it's more like a switch in subscription now, because usually I read the papers, but it's only once or twice a week. So it made my papers are just stacking up. So I thought it made more sense to just switch to the tablet, which allows me to review without having to keep the paper, the physical paper, and I can actually look at the papers whenever I want to now.
Having the hard copy, you have a lot to compile and then sell to the Garanguni. We have been doing that. But with this e-paper, we need not do that chore anymore. Yeah, I think it's a little contribution to the green movement.
Are you looking for, to change your reading habits? Do you normally read?
Yes, I usually read on my iPhone, but it's too small.
Well, I came here very strongly is because when I'm overseas, I can read the Straits Times online. That is my main priority.
I'm joined by Deputy Managing Editor of the Straits Times EMTM Group, Murali Subramaniam. Hi, Murali.
Hi.
Now, Murali, why the idea for this new subscription plan?
Well, we're always trying to find new ways to give our readers a good experience in reading our content. And we found that our e-paper is actually very popular. So we decided to put a subscription plan together with the e-paper to allow readers to access this content.
Okay, now Murali, what are some of the features that subscribers can look forward to?
I've been speaking to some of the subscribers this morning, and I think what they're excited about is that they can auto-download the newspaper, they can pick it up anytime, they can use their Wi-Fi, load it, get on the train and read their content. They can find the sections very easily, they can share the articles with their friends. So I think it's about convenience, it's about ease of use, and of course a tablet along with the whole experience.
Now on that note, how has the response been like from the public?
I must say that we've been a bit overwhelmed. I think if you can look at the crowds here this morning, and all of these people actually pre-registered and ordered their tablets beforehand to get the early bird offers. I think we'll be sold out with our initial plan quite early in the week, and we're very, very gratified that the readers find this such a interesting product, and we have so many people still such keen followers of the Straits Times.
Now, for the members of the public who have missed out on the early bird promotion, what can they do?
Yeah, well, we actually still allow them. They can still purchase tablets online, but what they can't, they might not be able to get it before Christmas. These are the lucky folk who will get it before Christmas, but they can still get it in January. So Chinese New Year gifts, whatever you think about it, they can still do it. So I'd encourage them to still go online and buy the tablet.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks a lot.
Now, of course, for those of you who are interested to get the tablet, like what Murali says, you can still purchase them online. It's just that you probably won't get it by Christmas, probably by the new year. Now, those are our top stories for today. For more news and videos, you can visit our website at straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto. Have a good weekend ahead, and we will see you again on Monday.